Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great time. I'm having a wonderful time, so at least that's happening. I am really excited about this next panel because A, I work in live music. Most people don't even know about my day job, but that's what my day job is. And B, because I think this is going to be a really interesting discussion about what live music can mean. I think we've touched on these points throughout the conference about fan experience, fan engagement, even about the live space, the metaverse, all kinds of different things. And I brought some really great people here to talk about the future of live music and the future of what live experiences can be. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our moderator, Luandale. Um, Luandale, welcome to Measure Music. So good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Thank you for
And
having
I'm
me. Absolutely.
of course, and I'm going to bring up our wonderful panelists. Luandale, take it away.
All right. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Depending on where you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's an evening here in South Africa in Johannesburg. So in about 4 minutes, we're going to be in Sunday, which is very trippy. But yeah, my name is Luandi Lenganyuza. I'm an artist entrepreneur. I'm a creative director and a musician at a company called Normal. I think the musician part of me is really excited about this particular conversation because in a lot of spaces in the world and just in our industries, live music and live experiences are still where most of our money comes from, especially like in the digital age where, streaming is peanuts. And a lot of our label deals, are in favor of obviously the labels themselves. So when artists release albums, first thing they want to do is tour, right? And with that in mind, and with that said, we have an amazing panel with four subject matter experts in their own respects. And I'll just ask them to introduce themselves one by one. I'll call you out. And if you can just say something briefly about yourself, about who you are and what you do. And lastly, what was your favorite thing about the last event you attended? Oscar?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. Hello from this sunny Saturday afternoon here in Cocoa Beach in Florida. My name is Oscar. I work for UMusic Hotels. I have over 25 years of experience in the fields of marketing, distribution, sales, and revenue management, all hospitality related. And my expertise has brought me to this amazing venture that we started not a long time ago called UMusic Hotels, which is the latest venture of Universal Music Group, and where we try to bring together entertainment and hospitality. And about the last event that you just mentioned, what I like the most is the energy of everybody coming to the to a place where, in this case, where there was a music event, that energy of people from all over the world enjoying a live show and a live event, that was absolutely outstanding.
Thank you so much, Oscar. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you. Sam, let's hear from you.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Biotti. I'm the co-founder and chief brand and experience officer at Rosedale Collective. Rosedale's a label and accelerator for BIPOC musicians and country folk Americana. So, all of us really on our team, really excited that Beyonce dropped this album, and we've been waiting for this for a really long time. So very excited about that. So a lot of what we do is support artists in that space, trying to just like support them and develop them because country music generally doesn't. And then the last live event that I went to was something that a colleague of Joshua and I put on called Queer Sounds, which is lots of queer artists in LA performing. And so I just love that it was just like intimate. People's friends were there and really loved it. And also Sabir is also a colleague as well. So yeah, really excited about that.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you. Sabira.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all and nice to meet you all. My name is Sabira. I am a DJ and I also am the concept producer for a disabled BIPOC led pipeline program initiative called Accessible Plus. It's in partnership with Golden Voice, and we essentially um, create a pipeline for disabled BIPOC folks and artists who want to get into the live entertainment industry. And we bring them to festivals like Coachella and things like that to provide an ultimate, festival experience, but also they leave with something, really equitable. So internships, mentorships, different networking panels and things like that. So we do a lot, but it's really awesome.
Great.
And
Thank
then,
you
oh,
so
to
much,
answer your
Sabira.
second question,
Yes.
it was most recently I worked the Cali Vibes Festival is this reggae festival in LA, and that was really cool. I got to see the Roots, never seen them before, and they put on an amazing show. Wow. Yeah.
That sounds exciting. Thank you so much, Sabira. Pleasure to meet you. And then lastly, Joshua. Let's hear it.
Hello. My name is Joshua Wadera. I'm the founder and CEO of Ode, a marketing and artist management agency that focuses on BIPOC artists and children of immigrants and immigrants themselves. And I have about 10 years in experiential marketing and brand partnerships. The last event, I went to a birthday recently where none of us were allowed to speak English because everybody spoke another language and we didn't know each other besides our mutual friend whose birthday it was. So it was actually a very lovely experience to learn how we all could communicate in a world where Western English is not the common denominator. So.
That sounds very exciting and challenging, but exciting regardless. Great. Okay, cool. So I think just to remind everybody why we're here to discuss the next phase of music experiences, and we're here to get the perspectives of people I would personally consider the experts, right? And I think we can all agree that live music and the live experience is one that is multisensory in comparison to a lot of other ways people consume music. In live experiences, you can have a beverage, you can taste, you can see, you can smell, and whatnot. And as the people who curate these experiences, I'm very curious about, starting with you, Joshua, lived experience meets data, right? I did not read that on your website. Yes, I did. Empathy plays a big role in your journey with Ode, uplifting, supporting South Asians in the diaspora. And you've curated over 300 events, from the Soho House, Diwali, New York and LA, to co-producing Basement, Bhangra's Summer Stage. Talk to me about your approach with pairing something as human as lived experiences and data to determine whether there's a need or want for what you have to offer as a brand strategist and a writer.
I think inherently I'm a Punjabi New Yorker that identifies as a woman, right? And so everything I do in my life is going to be somewhat informed by those identities that I choose to hold. So I think it's a lot less about centering ethnicity or heritage or race for me, but it's a lot more because I hold those identities, it's easy for me to humanize people that aren't included in larger mainstream narratives because I have to humanize myself, right? So when you're asking for the same service you're providing, you're able to do it in a way that's a lot more authentic than when you have to learn how to humanize somebody or you're reliant on exclusively quantitative data, Nielsen, Luminate. These are generally being tabulated after the fact, right? You're being told that your population is now relevant because their purchasing power has increased in the last decade. But that's measuring after, right? That's retroactive. It's almost like having an artist pop and then being mad when the labels war over them to try to get the best deal, right? You haven't done discovery. There's no diligence there. And so I think when it comes to our events, people will call anything I do South Asian because I am South Asian. So whether I think the event is South Asian or not is truly irrespective. But I think that lens allows me to move a little bit differently. And I think everybody's lived experience allows them to move differently.
No, agreed completely, because I think having your own experience as a point of departure does guarantee your full involvement, just like through empathy. And I guess you're always gonna enjoy what you do for as long as you do it. And I think just as an offshoot of from empathy, Sabira, you've played various stages, Coachella's Mojave stage, the selection experience, and you're heavily involved in accessible festivals. What sort of impact are you hoping your involvement and presence in these spaces and your advocacy will have on the future of music experiences? So when someone sees that someone like your name on a poster and the kind of conversations you're looking to have, what sort of impact are you hoping to have in these spaces?
I think the first thing is to one of the main impacts that I really want to have is I want to see more talent agents, more booking agents, talent buyers, really go out and look for really talented disabled artists. That's the first thing. The first thing is that I don't want people to just go looking for um diversity just to, tick a box. I'm looking for people to start really tapping into their community, start looking into like, okay, yeah, I do have this disabled friend. How can I help them grow and develop as an artist before I even put them on a stage like that? Um, I want to see just real support. Not necessarily, I don't want people looking for inspiration. I'm looking for people to look for um, talent and authenticity. Um,
Mhm.
so that I think that's one of the main impacts that I want. And I think secondly, um, I want to see changes. I want to see people not looking at accessibility as an afterthought. I kind of want that. I don't even kind of, I want it to be the first thing on someone's mind when they're developing these spaces, when they're creating these venues and they're creating these festivals. Um, and that's wholeheartedly, not just, the guest experience. I'm talking even the staff experience. What does it look like to make,
Mm,
the workspace accessible for disabled staff in the live entertainment industry, in the music industry, period? Um, there's been many a times where I've been to a venue or I've been asked to DJ something that was not accessible, and I didn't know until I got there. Even though,
mm,
friends or the the person that wanted to book me would say, "Oh, we have a ramp. Oh, we have this." But people don't necessarily think about, okay, well, how high is the incline? How,
mm,
low, are the stairs to create an even easier incline? Is there an accessible restroom available? All of these different things. So yeah, just, one, look for talent in the disabled community and cultivate that and help that grow. And then, yeah, secondly, don't have accessibility as an afterthought.
No, that makes perfect sense. And it made me look at my wallpaper on my phone where it reads, I don't know if everyone can see it, probably not because it's blurry, but what it says is create the things you wish existed, right? And I think by virtue of you being heavily involved in, initiatives like Accessible Festival, it's like everyone who needs to make a decision to inform all these things that you need will have possibly experienced it at its highest level at a platform that you are heavily involved in. So I think I'm going to use empathy as a common thread, because literally that's what it seems that we're doing. Like our reasons for our curations, our approaches to our live experiences are informed by something very personal, something that kind of like touches our hearts, and it also informs how passionate we are, which is great. And yeah, I mean, to this point of, create the things you wish existed, there's this saying that we have at the company I work at. Well, not much of a saying, but we say someone's got to do it. You know, if not me, then who, right? And you, Sam, are someone who seems to be at the center of a handful of initiatives. Like Cohort Zero, the Rosedale Summit, as well as programs like that you've designed for Adobe, the Obama Foundation. What was the catalyst that led you to playing such a pivotal role? And what is the future that you envision as a result of these efforts? So all these spaces that you have a lot of influence and that you've been trusted, like what made you specifically want to play that role? And also, as far as someone's got to do it, you're also not necessarily carrying it on your shoulder, but you're representing, BIPOC communities in genres that are predominantly white, and you've obviously made a conscious decision about that. What is the catalyst, and what is the future you envision your involvement will, contribute?
I hate to be like, when I was a little girl, but like I do have a story. So
We need it. We need it.
when I was in high school, I joined this program called Leave Out Violence. It was based in Canada, really focused on photojournalism for young teens. I had not been directly impacted by violence, but I knew a lot of people who had. But the people who were in the program, so all the program directors, just like tremendously changed the way that I thought about my life and the way that I wanted to curate kind of just experiences and development for young people just forever. So I like started working in that. When I founded Rosedale with two of my co-founders, I just saw that there was just such a gap. They were like, hey, they're artists of color who are really talented, and country music, really racist, won't let them be on stage, won't put them on playlists. I was like, this just feels wrong. Like when things feel wrong, I'm like, we should stop doing that. Let's create a process for how to do it. Let's like just make it easy for people to just like put them on stage. Of course, that doesn't like, you know, there are all the excuses of like, we just don't know where to find them. And like, they're just not good. And like, those things are not true. And you're not trying hard enough. So we're like, how do we create our own ecosystem? So I really believe in designing your own ecosystem to create processes to just like get in there. So I'm really excited about developing artists in that space in particular. But I've done it kind of in my career all over. Like when I'm at Adobe, I'm thinking about how do we develop the next generation of young people in understanding how to use digital skills and the digital tools around them. But yeah, constant just like development, like the world is constantly changing and evolving. And you do like, I feel like in order to compete, you need to keep up, but not everyone has access to those resources. And so how do you be a funnel and a convener of resources, people, connections, knowledge in order to support people? So that is like what we spend all of our time doing at Rosedale. So we're like partnering with brands to like give artists opportunities to make money and share their art with the world. So yeah, I just like really excited about like, how do you cultivate talent? I think especially in the music industry now, they're waiting for people to be like completely packaged up, don't want to sign anyone unless you have 1 million followers. And I'm like, well, like what do they need? Like once a musician has 1 million followers on TikTok and is getting paid, like what do they then need the label for? Like, why aren't we investing in cultivating and developing talent like we used to? So yeah, just trying to build people up. I just believe in it. So, and I'm sure everyone on this panel does too.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I think, you know, when you take on such a task, you really have to have the capacity, you know, the emotional capacity, the capacity in numbers, so like a team that you can rely on. And also, you know, holding on to that empathy that I'm always going to go back and refer to. And another thing that also gives you capacity is experience, you know, experience and having done it enough times, having, you know, been involved and present in these situations enough times to know how to navigate. You know, now when you have 25 years of hotel experience, Oscar, like it makes me think of something that an urban poet named Kendrick Lamar said on a song called Purple Hearts on his new album. He said, I'm not in the music business, I've been in the human business. Yeah. And I feel like there's nothing more human than hospitality, right? Because obviously you're taking care of people, you know, just the business model around like hotels, like it's home. Well, I guess it's sort of home away from home, or even better for a lot of people. But how has your vast experience in hospitality and hotels influenced and informed your involvement in the future of what is UMusic Hotels?
Well, obviously, you know, after being such a long time in hospitality and in what we call more before the mainstream hospitality, and now coming into something that is a merge between entertainment and hospitality, where entertainment is really the core. When we envisioned the company, what we wanted first was that we want the hotels to play a significant role in the community, a true one. And we want to try to create a disruptive hospitality model that you know, the guests coming to our hotel, they choose to come to our hotel because, you know, they are music lovers and they plan, you know, they stay wherever the hotel is in whatever the city is, that everything is around music, is around entertainment. That for us was something that we had very clear in our mind. And as well, we want our hotels to be a center for creativity, and as I mentioned before, we want that the hotels have a, you know, important role in the community, and we want the hotels to allow customers going to that hotel or to that city to really discover the B side of the city, and then as well the B side of what's around, especially around entertainment. And we have the option as well, and we house new talent all the time in our hotels around music, around art, any type of entertainment, painters, etc. So that's what we really wanted. We want the hotels to really sound, smell, taste where we are. That's for us. That's the core in our case.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I think a lot of the time I get the sense that well, I guess being a musician, I'll speak from that perspective. We're often the last people to be considered, ironically, in the whole machine from earning. So when I hear you speak about something that's almost music facing and how you'll accommodate artists themselves, I feel like the future of music looks really bright. And I think by show of smiles from panelists, like, do we all agree that live experiences at its core about community? Just give me a grin. If you want, you can giggle, all good. So I think as
Yeah.
far as it being a community exercise, back to you, Sabira. Through Accessible Festival, talk to me about the role you believe music and live experiences of the future, what role do they play in normalizing these conversations around race and disability? Because I guess, not even to almost briefly answer it, but it's like music is a bonding agent, as we all agreed, it's a community exercise when you bring people together. But what is it about music specifically that you think is going to be like the best way to facilitate these sort of conversations?
Um, I would have to say, I mean, music in general, especially like live music in general. I've met some of like my best friends going to concerts and things like that. I think when it comes to the disabled community, one thing that Accessible Plus has mastered is just being able to build that community through music
Mm.
by creating, um, I guess, just a sense of like, if you've never, it's a shared experience between all of our participants and our community. A lot of times, many of us
Mm.
in the community don't think that, oh, we can go to a concert or it won't necessarily be accessible, or when I go there, I'm not gonna be able to see. So all these different things. But I think by getting so many of us in one space um, helps kind of ease that anxiety of being
Mm. 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 Mm.
out in those kind of spaces. Um, so I think, yeah, I think when it comes to like live music, um, in general, I think, one way that we do it is just to make sure we do the buddy system, really. We do the buddy system. We make sure
Mm.
that like
Mm.
it's
Mm.
3 of us, 2 of us in the community or at this show, at that show, even beyond a festival. I mean, going to a concert together or maybe going to, those parties where, there's like 5 different DJs on the lineup. Um, just kinda getting together and normalizing us being out in these spaces, um, really kinda solidifies, uh, that sense of community because many of us don't necessarily get to see each other as often as we like outside of the internet. So,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know,
Mm. I get that, and I
and
like
that's
the last point you made. Yeah, sorry to
yeah.
cut you. You were still saying?
Yeah, I was just saying a lot of that too has to do with like transportation and things like that too. So there's a lot of different other
Mm.
barriers that can necessarily prevent us from seeing each other. So when we can see each other, we take full advantage.
Mm, No, that makes perfect sense. And I think to your last point, before I cut you by mistake, about how we rarely see each other outside of the internet. I think that's the thing about the digital age. It's come with accessibility, ironically, to, I guess, music, streaming and whatnot. But I guess we kind of lose out on a lot of our human senses, our sense of touch. You could taste a CD if you wanted to, but you can also touch it and all sorts of things. And if we're going to just rely purely on digital, then we kind of lose out on all sorts of things. So I think live events as a community exercise, a community building exercise, and music as a bonding agent, I guess it makes a perfect recipe for, I guess, what trying to define what the future of live experiences looks like. And just on the point of community, Jashima, your heritage is a big point of departure of yours with, I guess, creating these memorable live experiences, creating the platforms that you create. Talk to me about what is it that you gravitated towards immediately about that as a point of departure. If was there a gap that you saw that was missing from a representation perspective? What was it?
I too have a story like Sam does. My first job was at 15
Oh,
years old. And I was in America, we have malls that have Santa sets during Christmas season where you sit on Santa's lap as a child and they take these photos. And I was a Santa's elf that put you on Santa's lap and then checked you out. And that was my first job. And one day this Caucasian child was throwing a fit and he said to his mom, "This isn't real." And she was like, "Why do you think Santa's not real?" And he goes, "Santa doesn't have brown elves." And I started laughing really loudly, and my coworkers were so upset. And I said, "I've never seen a brown elf either, not in a storybook, not in a Hallmark movie, not in anything." And so you can't blame this child for telling you exactly what they know to be true about the world, right? Their world has been homogenous for so long. So he doesn't know how to humanize the idea that there might be a brown elf. Um,
mm,
and and so I think from a very young age, it just became so apparently clear to me that the only ways we all existed, at least in North America, is in the lens of the stereotype somebody else has decided is ours. And I wanted to really break apart from that. And then I think to the tune of my heritage, listen, I would love for my artist to be considered just an R&B artist, just a rapper, just a singer, just a country artist. But for some reason, we love being like, "Do you make world music because you're a little darker than the other person? Do you make world music because your name is different?" And you're like, "I don't really know what world music is, but I know that the whole world listens to music." And so
mm,
if for a little while me acknowledging our ethnicity or our background from a place of pride, not from shame, can allow for
mm, mm,
people from my community to take up space, then I want to do that. I don't want to have to call everything South Asian, and I don't, but other people call things we do South Asian. But
mm,
I think inherently community is not a category. And in North American
mm,
media, what we've done to the whole world is turned the concept of community into a category. For me, it's a set of shared values that we execute and practice in reality. So Sabira could be around folks that are disabled as well, and that doesn't inherently mean they're in community together, right? That's somebody else's perception of us. They're not able to humanize us
mm,
outside of our category. And so I have more in
mm,
common with someone that might love bluegrass than I do with someone who just happens to be South Asian. That's such a strange thing to call my community. But by having
mm, mm,
spaces that are by us but for everybody, we can again
mm,
humanize and actually be in community. And so that experience is kind of the lens I try to come from.
mm. And I think that sort of energy is maybe, I don't know if you had something you wanted to say, Sabir?
I was
Oh,
just
okay,
agreeing.
you're just
Yeah, I was
reacting.
just agreeing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
facts.
Yeah, I mean, I think what blows my mind the most is that in this day and age, it's almost like we're trying to quote unquote paddle back to humanity or to humanize experiences and not just like just data driven, And I think just based on the conversation we've been having now, I think when I think of the future of live experiences, if God willing, it's you guys are at the helm of it. I think we're in the right direction because it's empathy again. It's empathy. It's just like humanization, and you know, another thing that I is important. I'm just throwing out buzzwords at this point, but just to remind everyone, we are talking about the next phase of music experiences beyond the stage, and something that I haven't mentioned that I think about every day is entrepreneurship. How basically everything, our involvement in the arts. In fact, I'd even go as far as saying that by virtue of everyone being or subscribing to something in the arts, a career in the arts, you've chosen entrepreneurship. A lot of the time you're not even responding to a need, but rather a want, for maybe inclusive space, or just rather, you know, you want to express yourself. So you've got to create things around that, because in the country that I'm from, we've got this thing, guys, it's so embarrassing, called load shedding, where we don't have electricity for 2 hours, maybe like 3 times a day. It's the wildest thing. It's over the last 4 years. I don't know what's happening with whatever's happening, but it's what is the point I was trying to make? Sorry, I think that just triggered me a little bit when I was like, oh snap, I even had to look at the time. But entrepreneurship, you know, we're creating things that people, the point I was trying to make is that when they do the COVID lockdown, they say only essential workers, and that excludes artists, entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, you know, as if we're not playing a significant role in society. So I think something that I read about you, Sam, is that you are a designer, you know, and I don't know, I'd love for you to unpack what kind of designer, but I'm a multimedia designer myself. And in essence, design is creative problem solving, right? And I think what I read as well is that you help entrepreneurs, you know, get going with what they're trying to do. So can you break down how you approach a brief for a live experience as an experienced designer in modern times?
Yeah, I also have a background in design thinking and human-centered design. So I also really just think about things from an audience and a user perspective. So whenever I'm like, or we're planning a showcase for a few artists, or a show for an artist, or a live event, I really think, I'm like, who are we inviting? Who is this for? And is it like, and who are you trying to talk to? You know, so we have some artists who are like, I want everyone to see my music. And I'm like, that's great. Not everyone's going to vibe with you. And so like, do we want a room full of people who are like, this is or you like, we want a room full of people who might convert to like actual fans? And so really thinking about what is it that users or your audience or that your community that you've built want or need, if there's like a need there. And so really walking through that. And then I start with like, okay, what's the first step in the process? Like, how are they going to find out about the event? Okay, after they find out about the event, like, what's the next trigger? Like, what's the next action you want them to take? So through every single call to action, we think about what is it that the user would be thinking, what do they want, what are they missing, and then trying to achieve some of those gaps. So in particular, with Rosedale, we are, working with artists of color who are working in a predominantly white space with a lot of white fans in the country music space. And so we're like, okay, how do we find people who won't be racist at shows and also enjoy your music, and you'll feel safe and welcome, and that like people understand your story? So really trying to find, and so we partner with organizations to do that. I'm like, hey, the people who are on Broadway in Nashville might not all resonate with the work that you're doing. Let's find some community organizations to convert some people who are like maybe more excited about it. So really, thesis is working with the user.
And I mean, I guess that's really who we're catering to when we are executing these experiences. I mean, it's really the user experience that informs what we cater to, like from, what is stocked up at the bars, what sort of acts are on the lineup and whatnot. So yeah, I think sometimes as artists, we think it's all about us, I mean, and listen, we play a big role in this whole thing. I just wish that in this bigger machine that is the entertainment industry, everybody like knew the role they're playing. Because something that we have this residency we started doing in Johannesburg every Wednesday, live music at a barbershop every Wednesday. And I think 3 weeks into it, I started developing a lot of empathy for promoters and event organizers, empathy I never had, because now I'm dealing with artists who have a wild sense of entitlement, who arrive, do their thing for 30 minutes to an hour. Meanwhile, everybody else has been there for the last 4 hours. And it's like, this is strange. And it was such a jarring experience for me being an artist myself, not being in this role, So, I mean, it's interesting when we really think about, who we're really catering to and what really informs what we're doing when we start breaking down a brief. And just, I guess, I don't know, I'm trying to be a segue god at this point, just trying to find all these cute segues. But I mean, music, hip hop, Oscar, has a lot of hotel references, hotel living, come back to my hotel, party at the hotel later, and all sorts of things, right? So I'm curious, you've been in sales and marketing in the hospitality space for a very long time, as we said, 25 plus years.
Yes.
What are some of the sales and marketing strategies that U Music Hotels employs? You know, you guys have such a unique, approach to hospitality. How does that bleed into the way you approach sales and marketing, knowing who you're trying to reach?
Yes, especially with this quite a disruptive business model that we run, powered by, I would say that this powered by music. One of the most important things for us is to know and understand the music lover, the entertainment lover, what they like, what are they like, what are the artists that they're looking for, what is going on in the city where we are at, is there anything going on in that specific city that attracts that specific customer. So obviously it is really data centric, and meaning trying to understand better the consumer, because everything is around music and entertainment. So that is going to be the most important driver for that customer coming to our hotel. And obviously in these days, not everything is good for everybody. You have to be sometimes very niche, and that's wonderful. And we don't talk here only about people when we talk about our business model, they think about a type of artist. Not at all. I mean, we especially what we encourage is the talent, especially new talent, and we even work with the with local school of musics, and we bring those students to our facilities, and they can use the theater, and they can perform at the theater. They can even do their own rehearsal at the theater. They play during breakfast, lunch, dinners. They go to the rooftop, etc. So that's always great for that type of customer that they're looking, above and beyond the usual when they go to the destination. So again, it is all very data centric, meaning that we try to, be more specific on the type of product and in this case, this type of music that the customer is looking for.
And I guess just lastly on that point, is this a role you've played at all before in previous experiences in hospitality, or is this brand new?
I would say that it has obviously. We always say that a hotel by itself is a hotel. That is always what we call the mainstream in terms of sales and distribution. The customers that they're the generic customers that they go to a given city, a given hotel for whatever the reason. But in this case, as it is all based and is around music and entertainment, in this case, we utilize that data, trying to understand the consumer. We try to understand the consumer before they even arrive to the destination, at the moment of when they're going in the booking process, because we start asking questions about what type of genre do you like? What is your favorite artist? What would you like to see if you are around the city where we are at? Try to personalize more the stay and try to understand as well the likes and the dislikes of that consumer. So many of them, once they arrive to the hotel, they even find specific good surprises, like maybe it's your favorite band from your favorite group, or maybe that it's a very specific performance at the theater around the type of music that you like. And we always try to gather that info specifically to try to tailor-make that stay at the hotel.
Noted. All right, guys. Well, before I open it to the floor, actually, I'm going to open it to the floor for questions, but I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, the potential of how collaboration could work with just this particular panel. If you haven't seen it, amongst the five of us, I think spend time, don't even leave the chat yet. Just think, we could do this, but I do see it. I see it. So let's take some questions. Let's take some questions for our panelists. There we go. How many U Music hotels are there now?
Right now, during 2024, this is a venture. It's a Universal Music Group venture that started only a couple of years ago. We just recently opened a hotel in Madrid, and at the end of this year, we will open the next hotel in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And then during 2025, 26, more will come along, and hopefully you will be able to see those in the news.
Thank you, Oscar. Any more questions from our people in the comments section?
And then Oscar's going to host all of Ode's writing camps and sessions and global artist meetups.
Exactly.
Breakfast by local bakeries.
Let's go.
Oscar, in New York, a verbal contract stands. So I just want you to know.
Let's go.
I actually had a question for Oscar. So for these U Music hotels, um, it sounds very reminiscent of like almost like the 1920s and 30s where, folks would go into a hotel and next thing you know, they would see, like Josephine Baker or something like that. Is that kind of the inspiration? Just kind of bringing that kind of concept back?
Yes, it is, but not only for those really well-known artists, existing known artists, but as I mentioned before as well, we want to encourage as well, local talent, new musicians, new artists, new painters, new poets, new writers, because everything is about music, entertainment, culture. So, but yes, it has that. That's what we're trying to do. Because that's as well part of our unique value proposition. Everything is powered by entertainment. So, when people go to our hotel, they just don't go there for what we call a shower and a bed, because that is given at any hotel in any city, and everybody's doing a wonderful job. But it's the entertainment, what is going on. And we always say that in our hotels, there is always something going on, and that's what people are looking for.
I think that's a wonderful note to end things on. Thank you all for such a fantastic panel. Thanks for the diverse opinions, the wonderful conversation, tying this all together with empathy, even the idea of being at a hotel that is centered around your favorite artist. Could you imagine what that feeling is like? I think we all share a lot of common beliefs and values and challenges and all kinds of things. And I'm so grateful to our panelists for coming and talking about their ventures, talking about their experiences. I cannot wait to stay at a U Music Hotel. Lawandale, do you want to wrap things up for us?
Sure, why not? Well, I just want to thank you guys for sharing your perspectives on beyond the music, the next phases of music experiences. And, I hope you guys keep trailblazing and just breaking new ground, because I think there's very much a need that we are catering to as creative entrepreneurs. While we've definitely found an opportunity, I think, it's our empathy that's going to keep us, our hands on the wheel the whole time. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank each of you. I
Thank
don't know
you.
if you have any concluding thoughts, Christine. Sorry,
No, that's all
I'm just
good.
happy. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here. That's a wrap for our content for the day. My panelists, you guys are all set. You're free to go. Thank you again so much for your time. This was a wonderful conversation. Something to add for those that watched our Investing Music panel, that Sam, Sabira, and Jashima are all key change participants. So that is a common thread that brought them all together. Thank you all. Everyone else, I'm going to take my panelists off the stage now. Thank you again so much for everything, guys. Everyone else, I'm just going to wrap up the day because it's our last panel of the day. So just a couple of quick notes before I let you all go for the day. Yeah, so thanks so much. I hope you had a fantastic day. Measure Music 2024 is presented by Audience. So a huge thank you to them and all of our sponsors for making this all possible. I hope you've been inspired by the panels and the conversation. I know I have. I've had a blast today. I'm going to keep this wrap up really short because our participants have a lot of work to do. We have speed networking that's kicking off now. So up next, more speed networking. So if you missed it yesterday, you want to just chat to more people, that's open right now. So you can head over there right after I'm done chatting with you to have one-on-one chats with random people, speakers, artists, judges, mentors, whoever's involved can all be in there for speed networking. So you never know who you're going to meet. And thankfully, it's people from all over the world. So, you're going to expand your network. For those that want to head to bed or those that want to go out, because, it is Saturday night, we'll start tomorrow an hour earlier than usual. So you'll see on the schedule that we're starting 4 p.m. UK or 8 a.m. LA. And the first activity is speed networking. So if you want to do some networking when you're a bit more fresh, that's going to be an opportunity for you to do so tomorrow. And participants, we're going to be doing another Q&A session now. So everyone else, enjoy the speed networking. Have an amazing night. Thank you so much for another fantastic day. I loved it today. And participants, I'll see you in Google Meet. Everyone else, have fun speed networking. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. All the best, guys. Thank you.